right. Now, I understand that judgment was rendered. See, we've been doing eviction, so I've got rent in my head. That eviction, that hearing was heard, and we had final judgment issued on the 3rd, and then we had an appeal from it and an affidavit of inability. Ms. Jorgensen, you're appealing, correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right, and you filed the affidavit of inability.
Yes.
All right, and Mr. Reyes.
So apparently she already lost the case. She already lost the case, and now she's trying to appeal it. So this should be interesting. Let's get into it, y'all. If you could like the video, I greatly appreciate it. Only takes a second, and it actually helps out more than you know. And also, if you could hide.
You're contesting her inability, is that correct?
Yes, ma'am. Yes,
right.
Your Honor.
Let me go ahead and swear both parties in. Ms. Jorgensen, Mr. Reyes, if you'll both raise your right hand. Understand that by appearing in court and offering testimony or swearing to tell me the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth under a penalty of perjury. Do you so swear?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay, thank you very much.
Yes, Your Honor.
Ms. Jorgensen, just very quickly, do you currently receive any type of government benefit based on your income level?
No, Your Honor.
What was the question?
Are you receiving any type of unemployment benefit currently?
Who's the question to?
Ms. Jorgensen, are you currently drawing unemployment?
No, Your Honor.
Are you employed?
Yes, Your Honor.
What?
Where do you currently work?
Decorum Home and Design.
Do y'all know why that's important that she's asking those questions? If you weren't paying attention, you would have missed it. The guy who is going against her said he's contesting her inability or something like that. They're contesting her inability. So that tells me that she appealed and possibly filed that she has an inability to be able to pay. So that's why they're asking these questions. And come to find out she has a job. So let's see what her reason for being unable to pay is, or not having the ability to be able to pay.
Is that your business or someone else's?
Someone else's.
Okay. And how are you compensated there? Is it salary, commission, hourly?
It's salary.
Is it full-time or part-time work?
It's full-time.
How much is the salary that you're earning?
It's $60,000 a year.
The amount of the judgment against you was $12,874. Is that correct?
Yes, ma'am.
I understand there's change, but I'm not going to get into the pennies and cents, y'all. I know that there's some change on it, but
Do you got
the big
kids?
number is $12,874. Your take-home pay is about $4,100. Ms. Jorgensen?
Yes. Yes, ma'am. Yes, $41.12.
All right. Do you receive anything additional for child support?
Just child support.
Okay.
And you get child
All right.
support?
Mr. Reyes, I'd like to hear information from you. Why do you believe Ms. Jorgensen can afford the bond? Why are you contesting Ms. Jorgensen's use of a SIP?
Your Honor, I also have my office manager in here. I don't have my hearing aids in. And I want Liz to be able to help me through this if you don't mind, okay?
All right.
Okay, let's question.
Is she going to be testifying?
Yeah, you what?
She's asking why you're appealing, why you feel like she can afford the bond.
She can afford the bond because of her financials, what she has in her bank. And yes, it's not enough to fulfill her judgment, but we're willing to help her if she can pay the majority of it and then make payments. We're willing to help her in that.
Okay.
Mr. Reyes, she wants to appeal. She doesn't want to pay you anything. I don't know that, right? But she's appealing.
Well, she should not be able to appeal.
You don't
She
understand.
has a constitutional right to appeal, sir. So whether you think she does or not, she gets the right to appeal. The question is whether she has to pay a bond for it. Typically in
That's what I'm
justice
trying to
court
say.
on appeal, because it's not up to the judge, the appeal bond is twice the judgment. You want a judgment against her for $12,800, which would make the bond to her $25,000.
Yes, Your Honor.
You believe that she has $25,000 cash available to post the bond.
What's the question?
That's the question. If you're contesting the SIP,
No.
do you believe that she can afford $25,000 as a bond? So my question is, why do you believe that?
Based on her financial.
With her bank financials show 9933 in account.
So that's not even
Whoa,
half
what?
of what she owes for the bond. That does
Understand.
not prove she can afford it. In fact, it proves she can't.
This would get her almost whole with this, with a couple of payments.
What
deferred
you're trying to do,
payments.
Mr. Reyes, is get her to pay you the judgment. That is
Right,
not
right.
the same thing as what she's appealing. A contesting of the SIP is to say that she should be able to afford it. Not that she can afford you the judgment. These are
Just tell
two
me,
different
yes.
things, sir.
Okay,
Hmm?
so to say no,
What's that?
just say no.
No.
Okay. All right, court is gonna overrule the contest. The SIP will be valid. Case is gonna move forward to county court. And then, Mr. Reyes, you absolutely, if you win again in county, can pursue judgment, and you'll have that affidavit there as proof that she's got some money in her bank account.
Okay,
Mhm.
She swore under oath that she's got $9,000 right now in her account, but that proof in and of itself, I find to be proof that I doubt she doesn't have the 12 grand, and she definitely doesn't have the 25, which would be a reason to grant her
Right.
an affidavit of inability to post that bond.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay, all right, then.
I didn't want to cut it in there because it was already confusing enough with her having to, he having to get a translator for what he's sitting in here listening to. And then she's like, just say no. I don't know if that would be admissible. He just got told to say no, and he's showing that he don't understand. But so this is about the bond, apparently, which is, there he doesn't understand. You're in a whole nother court case again. Like you're on trial again. This is it. I'm not gonna say it restarted, but it looks like they have certain bond conditions for her to have a little skin in the game if she wants to appeal. But it looks like there's also certain protections if it is pretty clear that you just cannot afford to appeal. So it looks like he got caught up trying to argue back and forth. He needs to save his energy for the actual appeal.
Case will be sent along to county court. You should both hear from either county court law at 1 or county court at law 2 with a new hearing date. And then I will just give information to both parties. You're going to be in a different court with a different judge. They may require that you follow the rules of evidence. So for both of you, once you have a court date or you know that it's going to be in a new hearing, you might want to reach out and learn what is the expectation for that court, county court, either 1 or 2. All right?
Right.
All right. Thank you all very much then. Very best of luck, everyone. All parties are excused. Ms. Victor, why was this case filed?
It's a super non-payment for the month of February, in the amount of $1,692. We did deliver a 3-day notice on February 10th, and it was a notice to vacate. For at least, I think we required 24 hours.
Ms. Victor, was it a pay or vacate or just you have so much time to leave?
It was basically a notice to vacate.
Okay, notice to vacate.
Yes.
Had Ms. Barber been late on the rent prior to February?
Yes.
Okay. All right, and then how did y'all give her the notice to vacate in February?
It was posted to the inside of the front door.
Inside of the
So just in case you can't tell, that other case isn't going to get resolved today. We're in a whole nother case, but the case is still involving, rent or whatever. So I figure we'll still watch that. In totality, there's going to be about 3 different cases that we're going to be reviewing here, and they're all dealing with, landlords and tenants. So we're going to mix it up.
door. All right, and is this a CARES Act property?
No, ma'am.
And is there any subsidy on the 1692?
No, ma'am.
Are you seeking anything for March?
Prorated, I believe it's $654.96 through today.
Good afternoon, Ms. Barber. Thank you for being here.
Yes.
Ms. Victor is here representing the landlord Avalon. She says this case is, as I've heard from others today, a financial situation, which I understand is no fun, but it does occur. So my first question is the monthly rent $1,692?
Yes.
All right. And then Ms. Victor says that February and March have been unpaid. Is that correct?
Yes, may I explain?
Certainly.
Okay, I have a teacher retirement deposit that comes in February, and because I changed banks, they didn't do the mobile deposit.
Okay.
They sent a hard copy check.
Mhm.
And by changing banks, that bank, the new bank, put a 5-day hold on the check, which took me out of February into March. So as I called the care center, I'm thinking that I can pay for February's, and they wouldn't allow me to pay anything. It was $2,200. And they said, no, it's going to be more like 4,000, whatever, And I said, well, I don't have that right now. But I'll have it. But anyway, they wouldn't accept payment without it being February and March, which I'm listening to you all, so I totally get it. So tomorrow I should get the rest of the money and I'll be able to pay the whole amount. So, but if he wants to lower it, that'd be great. If any.
Well, Ms. Barber, I'll give you some information then. So what Ms. Victor asked is that I only make the judgment through today. But if your goal is to maybe pay it off and not have an eviction on your record,
Right.
then per the lease, you owe the whole amount for February and March, right?
That's fine. That's fine. I think it just caught me off guard because I was trying.
She's got the money. It's just that she had a situation. See, real situations do happen in these cases, but the landlord, because they get slighted so much, they don't waste any time. They go ahead and they go with action immediately. And so it hurts people who genuinely had a real valid excuse. Those people get hurt because there's so many people who do such egregious things and unethical things towards landlords to where now they treat everybody accordingly. And that sucks. Because I don't think she had any bad intention, but they're not taking any chances anymore because you got a few bad apples.
To pay for February's, but because we were already at the beginning of March and it had rolled into March, the gal was going, nope, nope, nope. So,
and those are policies sometimes beyond. I've had landlords say, we'd love to do it, but we have a higher command in our rule book that says they cannot. So what I will just say, Ms. Barber and Ms. Victor, for you both, it sounds like, Ms. Barber, you may have the funds available to you here very shortly. If in the next 5 days, and it's 5 calendar days starting tomorrow, if y'all come to some resolution, right? Because Ms. Victor, y'all let me know that you want to vacate it. We're happy to do that. Ms. Barber, you still have your option to appeal, and then in that appeal period, you can continue to try to negotiate. You have all of your options to you. If you do nothing, though, on day 6, this judgment would become final. All right.
Ms. Victor, it'll be paid in full by Monday at the latest, but I'm hoping it'll be tomorrow or Saturday instead. So I don't want to be evicted. I like it here. So anyway, I just needed just to say it was my mistake I didn't know that my check was going to be deposited as a hard copy check. I was looking for a direct deposit. So
I appreciate that, Ms. Barber. That's a good lesson and warning for us all, right? And I have a TRS account for my time at Texas State, so
I gotcha.
I know what I'm doing with that. All right, well, if there's no questions, then it's 2346. That's February and then a proration for March. Cost of court is the only thing that's added to that judgment. Either party can appeal. I'll put the appeal bond equal to a month of rent. That's $16.92. And again, though, if parties shall come to some agreement in 5 days, plaintiff lets me know that, we're happy to set this aside.
Okay.
Very best of luck to everyone. Thank you. Ms. Barber, very best of luck.
No, let me know. Thank you.
Thank you. All parties are excused.
Thank you.
Before we get into the third case, see, that sucks, man. You got people who are really good people getting treated like criminals because of people like that first lady who makes $60K a year and that's getting child support and that isn't paying their rent and owed. I think allegedly she owed like $10K and she's just decided not to pay, and then she's deciding to appeal. Because you have people like that, nice people, somebody's grandma is getting treated like she's a criminal and like she's trying to run off and not pay. I think that's wild. It's pretty clear. Anybody with 2 eyes and 2 ears and a lick of common sense can tell that this woman was not trying to do anything, egregious or immoral or unethical. I think listen, man, they changed the way my bank looked the other day, and like they updated the whole user experience. And so I can imagine for older segment that sometimes when they continue to update technology and change the way things are, and she's used to a check, and then she finally got somebody to hook up her direct deposit, and then the direct deposit something changed. She's like a deer in headlights trying to understand how to get everything just back to how it's supposed to be. So I think it's probably something along those lines that came into the equation, but it looks like she'll be all right.
Ms. Barbaretta, why was this eviction filed?
For non-payment of rent, the base rent is $12.56. Doesn't have any subsidy rents. We are a CARES property. He'll owe for February 2026. And for 12 days of March would make it $486.20. We do actually have about $20 for January and December as well. So he made partial payments for a couple of those months. So in total, he owes $1,742 and or $82.20.
Okay, so it's $20 from December, $20 left in January, all of February, and a proration for March.
Yes.
And altogether, that's $1,782.
And 20 cents.
Ms. Barbaretta, is that right?
Yeah, sorry.
Okay, that's fine. I'm assuming, and you said no subsidy on the government rent. Okay, when was the notice to vacate?
It's February 4th.
February 4th.
It was a notice to pay or vacate.
Oh, all right. Even better.
What do y'all think this gonna be? We had kind of the best of both worlds, right? We had a bad tenant, and then we had a good tenant who just made a mistake. Do we think this third one's going to be another bad tenant, or we think it's going to be a good tenant? Curious what y'all think. Still a mystery.
All right. Good afternoon, Mr. Williams.
Good afternoon.
And it's a guy.
Ms. Barbaretta's here. She's representing the landlord Bridge at Turtle Creek, and she's given me information that says this case is very much, as I've heard from all the others today, a non-payment matter. So my first question, Mr. Williams, is the monthly rent $1,256?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And then Ms. Barbaretta says that there's a little bit of a partial, $20 was remaining for December and January, but more importantly, February and March remain unpaid. Is that accurate for February and March?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. And how about same?
Well, it looks like what was the total amount owed? 1,782, correct?
That's a prorated amount. So that's all of February. That's 12 days of March, $20 for February or for December, and $20 for January. But there's no late fees included in any of that. So in court,
Okay, that's awesome. I was gonna say thank you to Amaya for doing that.
It's just the base. It's just for the court proceedings. The others is still owed, Josh. I'm sorry. It's just for the court proceedings. It's just the rent that we report. Everything else is still owed.
That's correct. Mr. Williams, state law does
Okay.
not allow the landlord in an eviction. So there's two types of lawsuits that can arise from the situation you find yourself in. One is the eviction, which is the landlord to legally have the right to come in and take back possession of the property, right?
Yes, sir. Yes.
The other part of that is if rent is owed, the landlord can ask me to award back rent. But the eviction rules say that in this particular proceeding, they can only get actual rent owed, and they cannot collect things like late fees or utility bills or cleaning or pet and pool and all the other stuff. However,
Okay.
under the lease, that money may still be owed, and if the landlord wants to pursue it, they have to do it in a different form. They can send you a bill, they could sue you as a civil suit just for that amount of damages. The eviction, though, is wholly about possession and then rent that's
And the
actually
rent.
owed. So it's always going to be a smaller number, most always.
Okay. Okay. So may I bring up a few things? And Amaya has nothing to do with this. She's been awesome this whole last year, and so are the ladies down there. Part of and all the late fees. Actually, I get that is all taken care of in this proceeding. I actually have I have to go to an interview today, soon, but after this, I'm pretty sure I got a job today.
Congrats.
Uh-oh, what happened? Are you
Oh wow, that's interesting. With further reflection, I think my question was a little bit of a loaded question. I think in most cases, when you're in court dealing with landlords and tenants, it's going to be a bad tenant, right? So odds was more so in the bad tenant favor. Funny enough, just from a glance, this actually looks like it's dead even in the middle. It looks like he is being egregious and not paying his rent, but it looks like it's somebody who really lost their job and is really trying to get another job and looks and see, because we hear this so much where when people get evicted all of a sudden, oh, I got an interview, I lost my job. A lot of times they're BSing. From what I can feel energetically and from what I'm taking in with all the context clues, it seems like this person possibly legitimately lost their job. And even he's talking about the late fees. Like it seems like he's still willing to even like just do what's right and be responsible for that, even if the court does not make him legally responsible for that. So I would say this is, in the middle tenant, right? He didn't pay because he just really didn't have the money, probably. So didn't have the finances in order. It wasn't just a by chance thing or they changed his bank account, but it seems like he's really taking it serious and life did happen to him and he's trying to resolve the matter.
still there, guys?
Yeah.
Hello?
Yes,
Mr.
sir.
Williams?
Hold on. Are you there?
Yes, Mr. Williams.
Hello?
Mr. Williams?
Hold on. Something just, I don't know. I can hear you, but I don't know what's going on.
All right, well, we can hear you just fine.
Okay. Yeah, someone else called. Okay, let me just
Oh my gosh.
turn it up or something happened. So you can hear me just fine?
I can hear you.
Okay, I can barely.
You sure you got that job? I'm starting to see why they probably fired him. He might not last long at this job because I don't know what's going on with him.
hear it, but someone just intervened and called or something. Okay,
Okay.
should have. Oh my gosh, these calls are just coming in like crazy. Hold on, let me just. Huh? Oh yeah.
Figure it out.
One thing I wanted to bring up is the back pay on rent. I got hold of St. Vincent de Paul, and they're trying. I think that's them trying to call me right now to help cover the cost of what is owed. Also, I did apply for a subsidy for rent, which did you get? Wait, I see that real quick. And I don't know yet if I got that subsidy in the mail yet, but they said it would take like, I think it was like a week to 2 weeks to get that subsidy for, I think in the amount for $653 every month. St. Vincent de Paul is probably going to either cover the cost of rent so I can be paid up in full. And I don't know which one is better, whether I should get my car paid off, not paid off, but that is my means to make money because I'm an Uber and a Lyft driver. So
Oh no.
my goal is get the job today that I have an interview with at the Salvation Army.
Good. Okay.
I've already spoke to them down there. It's a box truck driver position.
Okay.
And that will get me an actual paycheck. I applied for the subsidy, which I should be getting in the mail, which would cover $653 every month for utilities, bills, and anything having to do with rent and living costs.
Mr.
And
Williams?
I got,
Mr. Williams?
yes.
This is wonderful information, but it's not, for the court, it's not needed or necessary. Please contact Miss Barbara Rosa and let her know that. Let me give you the final details. Today, the judgment is judgment for the
Yes,
plaintiff.
I can just barely hear. Hold on, I've got to get this volume turned up. I cannot hear anything, dude. Hold on. Okay, now go.
Judgment for plaintiff, $1,782 in back rent plus cost of court. Either party can appeal. You have 5 days to appeal. The appeal bond is equal to
Okay.
1 month of rent. So that's $1,256. Mr. Williams, Ms. Barbarina, I'm so sorry. Um, I'm thinking Jane Fonda. I'm having Barbarossa. My apologies. If parties do reach some kind of agreement, right, if that happens, plaintiff has that option to let us know. Mr. Williams, you have an option. Both parties have an option to appeal. If y'all do nothing, the judgment becomes final on day 6. That's when the landlord can have the writ of possession. Okay?
Okay.
All right.
Okay, so
Thank you very much.
I just go to Apple.
I'm sorry, Mr. Williams?
I said, do I just go to appellate court? And because I do have a reason for appealing some of this. I mean,
Mr. Williams, if you
and
want to
like I said,
appeal, if you wish to appeal, you come to our court within 5 days to file an appeal bond, and then we will give you an exact date by
in
which you have to
Houston,
pay the rent to us, and then the case is sent to the county court.
in Houston.
No, sir, here. It's going to be appealed to the county court at law in
Okay.
Travis County. You're going to go to either court 1 or
Oh,
court 2.
Lord.
Okay.
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 All
Thank
right.
you, ma'am.
Good luck,
I
everyone. Thank you
appreciate
very
you.
much. Good luck for
Thank
your
you.
interview, sir. I hope you get good news.
Yeah, he might be on the spectrum or something. But so I would have doubted like he'll really appeal. But based off his actions, he seems to handle his business and do it very urgently and effectively. Really, when you really lay out all the stuff that this dude did, I mean, when you hear him talk, you would naturally not take him serious. But if you actually pay attention to his actions, he's not playing. He already got his job pretty much in the bag. This dude went and filed and got a bunch of grants and all this type of stuff and subsidies. As a man, he was able to go and secure that while still doing Uber Eats and DoorDash and all this type of stuff. So like while he didn't just say I'm gonna do gig work and that's just gonna be it and I'm gonna just lean on this for a while. It sounds like he was doing that to kind of keep the payments up on his car because he knew he was going to need that for a job. But at the same time, it looks like he was applying to places and it looks like something's about to come through. While at the same time, in his other hours that he was applying for certain assistance things. And ultimately, I say all this to say he had a lot of things in the pipeline that it looks like is all about to hit. And that's what you have to do. You have to have that type of urgency. So I actually respect that a lot. And so I wouldn't be surprised if he goes and files that appeal. He sounded like he didn't know where to go, but I wouldn't be surprised if he makes it happen. So again, I think he was in the middle. I think of being, not doing his stuff how he's supposed to, but also having the right intentions by it in another situation where, we just gotta do you like everybody else because so many people in mass have messed it up. I mean, I really felt bad for that lady. You could tell she really was not trying to get over anything. She just kind of fell victim to circumstance. She looks like one of those women. She looks like she still puts the pie in the window and lets the aroma attract the birds. So I don't think she had one bad intention in her body, but the masses have ruined things, and they ruined. That's what they did with government assistance. She probably could use a little government assistance, but she probably didn't even bother because all these waiting lists are you know, they're like trying to get in line at Six Flags. You're going to be waiting for a while. But that was a good one. We'll leave it there. Y'all, if you could like the video, I greatly appreciate it. Only takes a second and it actually helps out more than you know. And also, if you could hype the video, hype is a new feature that YouTube offers where it helps smaller content creators like myself. And basically, when you hype, it actually pushes us to the extent that it pushes the larger content creators. So you just press the hype button, then it shows the points. And it was designed for smaller content creators. And since I am one, we actually get more points per hype. So your hypes actually go further when you support smaller channels like mine. And then also Patreon's link below if you want to see self-improvement content as well. But until then, I'll catch you in the next video.